Yes. Okay. I'm going to record to the computer because I don't know what it means to record to the cloud. I don't even know
do
what
it
the
to your
cloud
computer.
is.
That's what you need to do. Yeah.
So, hopefully we find a recording for this, guys. If not, it's a good thing you're on.
It'll go like it normally does that way, Ariele.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Beth and I are super, super excited to have Heather Burke with us today. She is a Diamond Ambassador, and I know we were both thrilled when she said yes. Heather's going to share her story with us and then maybe some tips or a little training, but we are both super, super excited. And one of the things I'm super excited about, Heather, and I know Beth is too, Heather, you've said that you are an introvert. So I think that is such an important thing for people to hear because everybody always thinks you have to have a big, big personality and extrovert, and that's not the case. And you are a prime example of a very successful diamond in this business. So we are super excited to have you, and we will let you take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. Normally, I try and have like a topic and I have it all typed out in case I get flustered and lose my place. And I just didn't have anything coming to me the whole time. In fact, last night I was kind of panicked. I was like, what am I going to talk about? And then some stuff hit me this morning, but it's not typed out. So I'm just going to speak from the heart, and I hope that's okay. And if I get flustered and lose my thought or place, I'm just letting y'all know that in advance that I don't have it typed up in front of me. It's just coming from my head. So I am going to tell a little bit of my story and just how things were 4 years ago when I started in my life, because things have changed so much. But I think it's so good to look back and remember how things were, because sometimes you can get really comfortable in the new and kind of easier in some ways and forget how far you've come just in your life. So 4 years ago, I was probably one of the hardest financial places we had been in our marriage. It was one of those seasons where if anything could go wrong, it was going wrong. I mean, I remember like the steering column went out on our car, brakes went out, transmission went out. We had to get a totally new car. My husband was a teacher and a coach, and I worked from home as a billing assistant for my stepdad's company. So finances were tight. I did not make hardly anything with my stepdad's company. It was basically just to provide our insurance, because our insurance for our family would have been my husband's whole paycheck if we had done it through the education system. So finances were in a really bad spot. My health, it was not great either. There was not anything specific. It was just more rundown, exhausted, catching anything and everything the kids brought home. And then everything that can go with that. I didn't know about gut health then. I had no clue that that was the missing piece in my life. We also were in the process of becoming foster parents. So we had 3 kids at the time, and we didn't know what the future held. So New Year's Eve 2012 was the day I decided to say yes to Plexus. And that was just kind of the background story of everything going into it. It was just chaotic. I was an exhausted mess, and I just knew something needed to change. And I had been praying for a change. But I did not believe that Plexus was going to be that change. I'm just going to be honest. I had been watching my friend Jen Hawkins post for several months. I was a silent observer. I didn't like her post. I didn't comment on her post. I didn't say anything. I just watched and I paid attention. And so it was just kind of in my head. And that New Year's Eve, Plexus was doing a special like they often did, and Jen was doing a special as well. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try it and see. My hope was maybe that I could lose a few pounds that I had gained from medication, and maybe that I had a little bit of energy. So when I jumped on as a wholesale ambassador. I just wanted the cheapest price. It was going to be cheaper and easier for me to be an ambassador than it was a customer. And I told Jen very, very adamantly that I was not going to sell. I know a lot of us did the same thing. I said, I'm not going to sell. I have no desire. I couldn't be a salesperson if I wanted to be. I just want my products cheaper. And I believed that. Jen thankfully ignored me, and she went ahead and added me to team pages and just said, hey, it's here if you want this information. And it was probably the best thing that she could have done, because I'm an information junkie. I'm one of those people that wants to research everything. So I got on the team pages and I started reading people's testimonies and reading their questions and reading their troubleshooting. And I spent hours reading. And one of the things that jumped out to me was when I was reading people's financial testimonies, I started thinking, well, if they could do it, I mean, reading their story, I don't know why I can't do it. But I still had all of the beliefs in my head that I couldn't be successful. So there was that. I think the day that I made my very first Plexus post was kind of a sliding doors moment. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that movie. It's a Gwyneth Paltrow movie, and it's just about how little decision in their life changed everything. And you see the two scenarios play out. If she got on the train, if she didn't get on the train, and how that changed everything. And I feel like my very first Plexus post was that sliding doors moment for me. I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared to death. I was scared of being judged. I was scared of people making their own beliefs on what I was doing. I was scared of people thinking I only wanted them for their money. I had all these things and all these fears that I put onto that one single post, but I did it anyways. And I feel like that was that moment that changed everything for me. I was not someone that just took off super fast. You see people that they make that post and then everything changes. I made post after post after post for about 3 months before I had my first ambassador or a first customer outside of my mother. So that is important to know. I just kept doing it, and I kept taking the products, and my belief in the products kept building because I felt things in me changing. I felt the energy. I was dropping a few pounds. I felt more clear-headed, just little things. And I realized it was changing everything for me. What changed everything for me in building my business was the moment that I really dropped everything and was vulnerable and authentic and told people how much it had changed my life. Up to that point, I had been sharing other people's stories. So that's just the business side. But there's something important to note in all that. While I was making these posts, while I was learning about the products, while I was doing all of that, my husband was in baseball season, so it meant he was never, ever, ever home. We got a call about a 1-day-old baby, and we were asked to take her in, and we did. So our family went from chaos. We went from 3 to 4, and it was a newborn. And then she got really sick. It was a UTI, but a UTI for a 3-week-old is not a good thing. So she was put in the hospital for 10 days, and I stayed by her side every day of those 10 days. And those 10 days was when my business took off, which it's so crazy how God times things like that. So I was in the hospital with her, and that was when I made that post, and I told people, and then all of a sudden I signed 5 ambassadors that week, and I had about as many customers, and I was like, what is happening? And I realized that people just want to see you. They want to hear your story. They want to hear what the products are doing for you. They love seeing testimonies of other people because that piques their interest, but don't really care about these people because they don't even know if they're real. They know you're real. They want to hear from you. So my business started taking off. Well, in all of that, I was crazy busy, and I could have made a bunch of excuses. But for me, there was no other option. I started thinking, this could change everything. I never believed it could work up until that point, and then seeing that people were connecting, seeing that people were intrigued, seeing that my friends' lives were starting to be changed, it made me more bold. And so I did. I had to work, and I had to be consistent. And it didn't matter that I was busy. I had to find a way to make it work. So I'm telling you this to know that I had 4 kids at home at that time. One was a newborn that really needed me. My husband was not home to help me or support me in that, not because he didn't want to be, but he was just busy. And I had that other job I told you about. So I was working 20 hours. I was working nap time and bedtime. So my Plexus business hours were oftentimes in the very middle of the night when I was up with the baby feeding her or doing those things. It was whenever I could fit in. It was really, truly the nooks and crannies, but I did them consistently. So even though I was fitting them in, I was constantly fitting my business in and following up with people and reaching out to people. That could have been my excuse to make it not work, because life was crazy. In the midst of that, we got a call about our baby's sister. And so we were asked to take her in. So we did. She was 21 months old at the time. So we went from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, still in baseball season. Then we were in recital season. And in that moment was when my business went from silver to gold. And then it was weird. It was a whirlwind. I flew through those ranks. So 4 months later, I was emerald. And I don't tell you any of that for comparison's sake. I don't at all. I tell you that because I think a lot of times people see their outward circumstances and think, I'm too busy to do this. But I think sometimes our busyness is why we need to do this. Because I didn't see a way out. I didn't see a way to change that, but I just kept my head down. I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. I mean, I'm going to be real honest. All this amazing training that we have now, we were all just starting. So we were all kind of filling our way out. None of us had these great IPA systems. None of us had any of this because we didn't know any better. We were just kind of finding what worked. So the nooks and crannies worked for me, but I didn't know that. Following up frequently worked for me, but I didn't know I was doing the right thing. It just felt natural. Being consistent with my business felt natural, but I didn't know it was something I should be doing to be successful. It just was. So I guess about 6 months after I went emerald, I went diamond. And that year was the biggest whirlwind. And it's one of those things that I've had to look back on often to say, what did I do? Because I don't really remember it. Things were so crazy and so busy. I think one of the biggest things for me, and this is what was laid on my heart this morning, is that you can do all these things. You can do things consistently. You can follow up. But I think oftentimes we are still stuck in our comfort zones. And so that's where Ariele mentioned me being an introvert. It's true. I am an introvert, and I think that is someplace I'm very, very comfortable being. It's easy for me to say that's the way God made me because he did. He made that my personality. But it's also easy to put some prison bars on that and say that because I'm an introvert, I can't talk to people. Because I'm an introvert, I can't get on team calls. Because I'm an introvert, I can't get on a stage. And I did that for a long, long, long time. I realized that a lot of times the things that are our comfort zones are really unhealthy for us. My comfort zone for a while was being sick. My comfort zone for a while was kind of being lonely and just saying, well, I'm an introvert, so I'm not going to put myself out there and make these friends. I felt comfortable in being shy and quiet, so I didn't ever put myself out there. And that wasn't a safe or good place to be comfortable. It felt safe, but it really truly was a prison for my life. I think a comfort zone people often find is feeling insecure and feeling unsure of themselves. And it's scary to risk, and it's scary to believe that maybe you can accomplish this great thing. So maybe you're sitting at ambassador or silver, and the thought of diamond feels like this lofty dream that you don't even want to allow yourself to believe. Maybe you need to step out of that comfort zone and allow yourself to dream and realize that while you're going to feel vulnerable and bare and it's going to feel scary, maybe these things are the things that are going to change your life. What got me thinking about the comfort zone was, and I think it's going to be backwards, it is this sign that I got, and it says calling over comfort. And it basically what it says to me is you have to step out of your comfort to get to your calling. And that's what I realized about my Plexus business, was that it was daily steps out of my comfort zones, out of the places that felt safe for me, out of the places that felt secure for me. And it wasn't until I started stepping out of those comfort zones that I even began to step into my calling. So I want to just urge you guys to look at what in your life is your comfort zone. What could be keeping you from your calling? Because for me, it was fear. For me, it was believing that all these other people, they had been gifted. They had been gifted with these, the ability to public speak, or they had been gifted with this knowledge, the science knowledge, or they were business minded, or whatever it was. I somehow believed that they had a gift that I didn't have. And it's not that I do have this great gift. I'm not saying that, but it was these little steps out of my comfort zone that I started realizing, okay, there is a plan for me and there's a place for me. And my comfort zone where I'm feeling safe is also keeping me completely ineffective. So my big challenge today, and that's really, if I bumbled and fumbled, sorry. My big challenge is for you to look at the things around you. Look at where you're feeling comfortable. And some of the places you're feeling comfortable might be places that you need to get the heck out of. Feeling sick, feeling unsure, being scared to take a risk. Take these daily steps out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's a post on Facebook. Maybe it's saying hi to someone that you don't know, and that hi is the scariest thing you could do, but maybe that starts a friendship that is a person that becomes your rock star. Just the daily steps out of your comfort zone, and maybe doing that, you will step into your calling. So, sorry, my brain's kind of like
oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It was amazing. Heather, you know this because I tell you this, are like one of my favorites. You are so incredibly precious to me and sweet. Did you ever imagine, when did you start? What was your month that you started?
It was New Year's Eve 2012. So,
okay. So
right.
Just a couple months before. So would you ever imagine that you would be, number one, speaking on Zooms or speaking on stages or whatever, right?
Nope.
No way, right? Yeah, I would have crawled under a hole and said, keep that pink. Somebody told me that I was going to have to do that, which I don't have to. Don't be scared. I don't have to, but I love to. No. So anyways, but I love that people can relate to you, because I know for myself, like I even sometimes now start to doubt myself. Like, well, I'm not a science person. I'm not smart enough to even understand how to say those words, or I'm not a super business person. I say it all the time. I'm just a friend, and that's me. And so, that can be intimidating a lot of times. And I think back in the day when we all started, we didn't even know we just started doing it. You're right. We didn't know what to do. We just did what we thought we could do. And, anyway, so I just love, you are amazing. Seriously, I tell you that all the time, but thank you. And because I think that this call is going to reach to so many people, because I do think that there's people that think I'm not qualified, or that's not my personality, or that's too hard for me. Like, I remember the first time I talked to a stranger about Plexus, oh my gosh, and truly I started because Celeste did some kind of contest that if you gave people business cards and took a picture, that's how I started talking to people. Because you can say I'm trying to win a contest, and then that starts it, but I really think that this is going to reach home to so many people. So thank you for being real. If y'all don't follow Heather Burke, follow Heather Burke. She is so wise. She writes. She has a blog, and it is. I mean, every time she writes, I'm like, I think you're speaking just to me. Like every time, it's awesome. So she's an amazing person. So thank you.
Thank you. There was a question that popped up, but I didn't see it. No.
Let me see. I'll read it. Have you read any books that helped you overcome being an introvert?
Well, I don't know that being an introvert is something necessarily to overcome. I will say that. Like, I believe that God gave me this personality for a reason. And I want people to realize that it's an asset. Like, it's not a hindrance, because I think a lot of times with introverts, where we really excel is connecting one-on-one with people. And that's something that not everyone can do, that true connection. And being able to connect with people is, I think, something that was super great for my business, because when I talk to people, I really listen to what they said. And then I listened to what they were really saying beyond what they said. And so, I think that sometimes people need to flip that switch in their brain of thinking, well, I'm an introvert, and so I can't talk to people, and I need to overcome this. Instead, use it more as a skill for you, a way to connect with people that maybe extroverts can't. And you're going to find that people will be drawn to you. The crazy thing is, I have so many level ones that are huge extroverts, big personalities, but they were drawn to my introvertedness. So, I mean, BB Shattuck's one. She's like a larger than life personality. And Nikki Hinkle, these are people that you think they just have these huge, but they were drawn. I mean, that's how we connected as friends, was because of that.
They trusted you because you were real, because they knew you.
Yes.
Yes. I agree.
As far as a book, my favorite book that it's not so much about overcoming being an introvert, but it's called Daring Greatly, and it's by Brene Brown. And it is about being vulnerable, and it's kind of about vulnerability and authenticity and being brave, really. So, and it definitely applies to introverts and extroverts as well, because there's different things that hold us back, but it's honestly about embracing your weaknesses and the things that you don't feel so strong in, and realizing that those are the things that are going to connect you to other people, and that will help you change others and yourself. So, I mean, that's kind of a rambling synopsis of the book, but that is by far my favorite book to recommend.
Okay, this is, thank you. I love that you're an introvert. What color personality would you describe yourself? Yellow, blue, red, or green? Yellow.
And then followed by green, and not much red or blue at all.
I could call that one. Yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. I need this today. I've been stuck in my comfort zone. Thank you, Heather. I felt like you were talking to me. Thank you. I never would have thought that my illness was a comfort zone. Thank you for waking me up. Great call, Heather. You spoke what I needed to hear. Thank you. And then it says yay too. So anyways, you have done good, my friend. You are amazing, and we're so thankful for you. Do you mind typing the book name on the author? Can you see the comments? I don't know.
I'm trying to find where the comments, is it chats? I don't ever.
Yeah, the chat. I wrote the book and I didn't get the author, or I would do it.
Not like a thing on my computer telling me to read.
Who's the author?
Brene, Brene Brown.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, sorry. I'm like, it's not letting.
No, you're good. I just didn't get the author name, or I would have done it.
And then the name of the book is Daring Greatly.
I got that part. So, anybody else have any questions for Heather? If not, we will call it a day. Heather, go take care of your sweet baby that's sick. I hope it is strep and not the flu. I mean, strep's not fun either, but it's a quicker fix.
I know, it's easy fix. Yeah, and my husband's here, so thankfully he's.
Oh, good. Well, tell Bobby we said hi. All right, guys. I think that we're going to wrap it up. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Heather.
Bye. Thanks.